Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tackling something absolutely huge, and frankly, it's one of the most urgent challenges in tech right now. How in the world do we safely steer and control the incredible, disruptive power of generative AI? We're living in a moment where enterprise AI adoption is moving at absolute breakneck speed, but the hard reality? Corporate security protocols are often lagging way behind. Everyone is rushing to deploy the latest and greatest models, but with all that immense power comes massive enterprise-level risk. So today, we're focusing on the guardrails. We're talking about those essential ethical and security frameworks that keep these wildly powerful systems from running off the tracks and taking your company's data with them.
So we're going to anchor this whole conversation right in the official Cisco AITECH 810-110 blueprint. This is pretty much the definitive roadmap for the Cisco AI Technical Practitioner certification. Now, I get it. As tech professionals, it is incredibly tempting to just jump straight into the fun stuff, right? You want to learn how to deploy autonomous agents, or maybe experiment with diffusion models that conjure up hyper-realistic images from a quick text prompt. But honestly, before you can build the shiny new tools, you have to build the walls that keep them from burning down your data center. That's exactly why we are focusing entirely on Domain 3.0, ethics and security. This is that foundational layer you absolutely must master before you ever let an AI system touch a single byte of corporate data.
Here is our roadmap for unpacking these guardrails today. We'll be covering 1. The 15% imperative. 2. Responsible AI principles. 3. Protecting corporate data. 4. Defending against AI threats. And 5. Governance oversight.
Let's start right in with Section 1, the 15% imperative, or the true weight of ethics and security.
Think about this for a second. Ethics and security holds a hefty 15% weight on the AITECH exam. 15%! In a highly technical certification that tests your ability to navigate complex neural networks and prompt engineering, carving out that much space exclusively for ethics and security sends a massive signal. It tells us that Cisco recognizes a hard truth. The vast majority of enterprise AI failures, they aren't caused by bad code, they're caused by bad governance. You could build the fastest, most capable retrieval, augmented generation system on the planet, but man, if it accidentally leaks confidential data to unauthorized users, that is a devastating corporate liability. Mastering these guardrails literally is the critical difference between enterprise success and a multi-million-dollar breach. You simply cannot be a successful AI practitioner without mastering this piece of the puzzle.
Moving right along to Section 2, Responsible AI Principles. This is pulling straight from Section 3.1 of the blueprint.
The blueprint explicitly lists 5 pillars of responsible AI. These serve as your foundational playbook for deployment. Let's walk through them really quickly. First, fairness. Ensuring your AI doesn't favor one demographic unfairly, which is absolutely crucial if your system is, say, screening resumes or approving loans. Second is transparency. The idea that an AI's decision-making process shouldn't just be an opaque black box. We have to be able to audit how it actually arrived at its answers. Third is accountability. And this one is huge. Think about it. If an AI system you deployed advises a client poorly and costs them millions, who gets sued? The developer? The vendor? Or your enterprise? You need clear lines of responsibility. Fourth is bias mitigation, which we'll double-click on in just a second. And finally, safety. Implementing hard controls that prevent the AI from generating harmful or malicious content, even if a user explicitly asks for it. You need to know these 5 intimately.
Actually, let's zoom in on mastering complex requirements like bias mitigation for a moment. AI models are trained on massive datasets, created by humans, right? Which means they inherently absorb human biases and prejudices. Bias mitigation isn't just some one-and-done setting you toggle in a menu somewhere. It's an active, ongoing process to identify and reduce those prejudices. How do you actually do this in the real world? Well, as a practitioner, you use techniques like red teaming. Basically, you act like an adversary. You intentionally try to force your own model to output biased hiring recommendations or skewed data. By actively trying to break the system, you find the vulnerabilities and you patch them. You have to be constantly vigilant to guarantee your AI doesn't unintentionally skew data or discriminate.
Okay, Section 3, Protecting Corporate Data. All about defending the enterprise. This covers Blueprint Section 3.2.
There is a massive, severe contrast between carelessly feeding proprietary data into open systems versus actually architecting secured, private corporate AI environments. Imagine an unsecured AI scenario, an absolute nightmare for IT. Let's say Dave in accounting is trying to save 20 minutes on a Friday afternoon. He pastes your company's unreleased, highly confidential financial projections into a public language model just to summarize them for an email. Boom.
Just like that, your company's secret sauce is out in the wild, potentially acting as training data for future versions of that public model. It is a massive data leakage risk. On the flip side, we have secured corporate AI. This is where you come in. Your job is to implement strict privacy controls, architecting locally hosted models or secured enterprise cloud environments. You ensure data retention policies, explicitly protect your intellectual property so Dave can get his summary without inadvertently giving away the company's secrets.
But, it's not just about keeping your internal data in. It's also about keeping malicious influence out. That brings us to Section 4, Defending Against AI Threats, mapped out in Section 3.3.
The blueprint singles out a fascinating and frankly terrifying challenge here. We really need to understand that defending against AI-generated misinformation is now an urgent frontline security imperative. It's basically a two-front war. Internally, AI models can hallucinate, meaning they generate incredibly convincing, yet entirely false information with absolute 100% confidence. If an executive relies on a hallucinated metric, the business impact is severe. Externally, bad actors are using AI to scale their attacks. Picture an attacker using generative AI to analyze months of your CEO's public speeches, and then generating a highly personalized, flawless phishing email mimicking their exact writing style to bypass your traditional security filters. Wild, right? Your role involves setting up the technical guardrails and verification workflows to ensure the outputs your enterprise relies on are accurate, authentic, and secure against that kind of adversarial manipulation.
To enforce all these defenses systematically, we turn to Section 5, Governance and Risk Management, the oversight system detailed in Section 3.4.
To tie the whole ethical framework together, we rely on three highly testable pillars of AI governance: policy, risk management, and compliance. Let's break them down. First, policy. This is your rulebook. It defines exactly what employees can and cannot do with AI tools in the organization. Second, risk management. Think of this as your active radar. It involves constantly scanning the horizon, identifying new vulnerabilities in your deployments, assessing the impact, and putting mitigations in place before things go completely sideways. And third, compliance. This is the proof. And honestly, here's why this matters so much to your career. Compliance isn't just internal paperwork anymore. With major regulations like the EU AI Act rolling out globally, companies are desperate for professionals who understand how to align AI practices with these new legal frameworks. Mastering this specific pillar makes you a highly lucrative, irreplaceable asset to literally any enterprise.
Finally, let's bring this all back to you in Section 6, the Ethical AI Practitioner, and your specific role in the enterprise. Because here's the thing, this certification path proves an AI technical practitioner is far more than just a builder who knows how to prompt a model or set up a data pipeline. When you truly internalize the principles of Domain 3.0, you become something much more important. You become the vital guardian of corporate security and trust. You are the ultimate safety net. You're the person standing firmly between a revolutionary technological tool and a catastrophic corporate blunder. I'll leave you with this final, critical question to consider as you master these guardrails and prep for your exam. Will your AI systems be a corporate asset or a security liability? The technology itself is neutral, right? But the way you implement its ethics, its privacy controls, and its governance will entirely determine its impact. Will your AI deployments be a secure, fair, and transparent asset that drives the business forward, or will a lack of proper guardrails turn them into a massive security liability? Keep that question front and center as you continue your learning journey. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I look forward to exploring more with you next time.